Good Friday morning, everyone, to all of my social media friends, from whether you're local to me, local to my special guest today, this morning, or whether you are from afar because you were smart enough, maybe unlike the rest of us, to bounce out of this cold tundra here in Chi-Town or the upper Midwest. And before we begin, happy Valentine's, everyone. For those of you who are celebrating love, and again, if you're smart, you're probably celebrating your day of love on a beach. And if you are, all of us are jealous of you. Let's get that out there straight up, okay? My guest today are some relationships that I have come to know over the past several years. They have guested in some of my other episodes, live stream conversations, and leading up to February 14th, several weeks ago, they were kind enough, upon getting my email, asking them, hey, can you help me? Can you show up for this episode that I want to drop of New You, New Job, and New Home? Now, why is it that we're kind of, setting that to be the backdrop and the headline? It's because as we start a new year, all of us go through life events. Maybe it's just one life event. It could be two or three at the same time, where it does maybe spell your story of the new you. You're getting to a next chapter of who you are. Maybe it's a career change or a move. And lastly, right, if you're doing this, who doesn't love this TV series? Come on. Modern Family. There's more and more of the Modern Family today. And when you are joining forces with your loved one, whether it be your first loved one or your next loved one, you're bringing families together. So with all of that said, my first guest today is a partner rising star in a law firm called Breems. She's very well spoken. I always love her energy when I see her. And on top of that, social media friends, she knows her stuff. That's the triple threat. So with all of that said, before we welcome Colleen into the virtual studio here, let's ask her work family to give her a nice warm welcome. So come on, Breems folks. Let's give your rising star, one of your partners, a nice warm welcome. Let's get this ready. Here we go. Colleen, these are your work family, your friends, and probably some of your clients, right? So let's add you to today's conversation. How are you?
Hi, Bill. Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I see, like me, that this morning you're able to work your mojo, do what you always do remotely from your downtown office, right?
Yes, actually, even more remotely, I'm coming to you from my suburban home office. So that's why you're seeing this beautiful setup here. And part of that is so I could be home and celebrate Valentine's Day with my loved one, my husband.
There you go. There you go. Thank you for joining me, our social media friends together, and of course, maybe the social media friends who we don't know as well yet, but as part of our interesting conversation today, maybe it'll give them reason to reach out to you when those life events hit, right?
Absolutely. I hope so.
Let's start off with this. Let's start off with drop a quick introduction for people who may not know you as well or don't know you at all as to who you are and what you do.
Of course. Good morning, everyone, to friends and soon to be new friends. My name is Colleen Breems, and I'm a divorce and family law partner at a law firm called 𝙉𝙚𝙬. We are based in Chicago as well as Bannockburn, and we are actually right now the largest family law firm in the nation, if you could believe it. So,
Wow.
servicing clients all the way from celebrities, athletes, high net worth folks, all the way to your next door neighbor. And we like to help people in the family law space. That looks like any family law transition that you could imagine, from the outset of a marriage with a prenup, middle of a marriage with a postnup or an adoption, and the end of a relationship with custody and divorce matters. So I like to say we do it all. And specifically for me, I'm a divorce litigator. I'm also collaboratively trained. I'm also a mediator, a parent coordinator, and a guardian ad litem, which means when I'm not representing adults, I'm often appointed by judges in Cook County to represent the best interests of children, which is so fun.
That is fun, but more importantly, that is critical because family, that's what it's all about. It's not just, the immediate generation, but the next and so forth. Today, Colleen, let's open the conversation up. I'm going to warm you up, I hope, with maybe one of your many topics, one of your many focus areas, and that is first softball question: nuptial agreements. Can you speak to that? Are they becoming more popular uh, within certain demographics, whether it's a pre or a post nuptial agreement?
Oh, that's a great question. And I love prenups and I love postnuptial agreements because I think that not only are they critical in the family law space and making sure you and your family are protected, but I think it's a great and even romantic opportunity to talk about your financial outlook, have that financial intimacy that not every relationship has, and plan for the future. When it comes to trends, something that I've noticed is those millennial couples that are getting married. When they are getting married, I think that they're more commonly looking at a prenuptial agreement than earlier generations.
Okay.
And I want to preface that prenups are not just for the rich and famous, not just for celebrities and high net worth, they're for everyone. And I've seen them be very useful tools for millennials who are coming together and they want to make sure that they're protecting their assets, their expected inheritances, their businesses, even protecting the other soon to be spouse from their student loan debts. Um, and I'm also seeing it as a great tool too for those blended families, perhaps parents that have children of other relationships and they're joining forces in a marriage and they want to be sure that their children remain protected. So it's a great tool and it can be absolutely romantic and a beautiful tool.
Yeah, I've seen a lot more of exactly what you touched upon. A couple of things, couple of trends that I'll drop. The average median age of a first-time home buyer on my side of the business seems to be pushing up to a higher number, right? And when we have looked at that, it seems like we see some other trailing trends as well, which is millennials, young professionals. They're absolutely focused on starting, building, and growing their career. And along the way, sometimes it's that of growing a startup business. And so, to that end, surprisingly, last calendar year, 2024, throughout the summer, my wife and I, we were invited to so many weddings, cousins, friends of friends. And it wasn't odd in some of the conversations to hear people talk about, they own a business and therefore, casually, there was a talk of like, oh, an agreement, right? And so to that point, I think it's critical. I think it's vital to make sure that the assets that you bring into a relationship is clearly defined. How is it protected in the event thereof? Typical cliche. What happens next? I think you're spot on when you say that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great way to make sure that you're planning for the future, protecting your relationship. And if your relationship should dissolve, making sure that you are limiting or even completely eliminating the need for protracted litigation, because no one wants to go there.
Yeah,
Um, and I think it's a great tool to consider when you're a first time home buyer, because that is a major asset to protect.
that is true. That is absolutely true because Um, right now, as I'm talking to you, I do have one relationship where they're looking at the next life event, not that of getting married, nor writing up a nuptial agreement, and they don't bring into the relationship equal assets. So, to your point, it's so important to kind of clearly define that up front. How often, in your opinion, how often does a nuptial agreement have to get updated? Is that more common these days?
I wish I saw it more often. I think sometimes
Really?
when people put a prenuptial agreement together, they kind of let it gather dust in the safety deposit box, which I tell them that I hope that they do to a certain extent, because I want it to be like a life insurance policy where hopefully you don't need it for a very long time because you're going to have a happy, healthy, and fulfilled marriage.
Right.
But updates should be considered. And I think it's important to remember that a prenup or even a postnup can be a living, breathing document as life events happen to your relationship. For example, in the middle of a marriage, if someone starts a business, that person's business owners or partners may want a prenup or a postnup to be updated to ensure that that business is protected. And in the unfortunate event of a divorce, that doesn't stand to dissolve that business or that partnership. I think that's a great reason to update one. Another one is if you're moving states, because remember, family law is state specific.
Oh,
I am
yeah.
only helping you and advising you as it relates to Illinois law. So if you're going to be moving with your partner to a different state, I always recommend that they consult with a family law attorney in that area and make sure that their prenup or postnup is updated accordingly to make sure that they're protected.
Yeah, spot on. So, social media friends, you heard it from Colleen. If you have plans to migrate out of Illinois or into Illinois, it's vital. It's critical to make sure that you have those conversations with your family law attorney as to like, okay, what do I need to plan for going forward for our family, especially a modern family, right?
Absolutely.
Colleen, do you see more female spouses versus male spouses being the initiator of nuptial agreements? The reason why I ask is because over the past certainly 5 to 10 years, more and more women are breaking the glass ceiling. There are more and more female entrepreneurs, business owners. Do you see any type of like demographic graphic shift in that way?
Oh, I love that question. And now that I'm thinking about it, I would say the big majority of the clients I represent in prenuptial agreements or postnuptial agreements just happen to be women. And I think a lot of that has to do with breaking the glass ceiling, advancing in their careers, making sure they want to be protected. And I also wonder too if that has anything to do with some of maybe the stereotypical uh, gender dynamics in planning for a wedding.
Yes.
I see very commonly with couples that are getting married, it's usually the female, if there is one, doing a lot of the heavy lifting, making those phone calls, reviewing those contracts,
Right.
planning for the tablescape. And I think that a prenup is also a not to be missed part of that wedding planning. So with that, it's very common for me to see women that reach out to me first and want to make sure that this prenup is in place.
Yeah, I can agree to that. I certainly am an example of that. To my Valentine, my honey, if you're watching today's episode, if you're playing hooky from work, hey, it is what it is. I certainly remember when we got married. I think she did probably 2/3 of the heavy lifting with all of the planning and stuff. The remaining 1/3, yes, I did chime in, offer an opinion. So fast forward, I'm always curious. Is there a shift in the modern family formation going forward? So thank you for enlightening on us, Colleen, with some of your family law insights in today's episode of New You, New Job, and New Home. Let's now welcome my second guest, a dear friend, someone that I certainly rely on when there are questions about, as Colleen mentioned, protecting assets. So let's get Marianne Holm ready to join us in the studio. And for Marianne, because I know you love getting treated like a rock star that you are, let's give you that rock star welcome. Here we go. Marianne, look at this. Come on. You're getting this rock star welcome. You got to be ready to join us. Here we go. So, Marianne, with what you've heard, we set the table, set the stage for the areas that you certainly contribute to, right? And that is helping families protect their assets, meaning combination of things. Protecting themselves within the home while driving their cars, and also in the world of Colleen, relationships. So talk to us about this.
All right, Bill, Colleen, hi, and happy Valentine's Day to everyone and to the both of you. It is very, kind of almost parallel when Colleen, I mean, I'm not an attorney, of course, but I think we can both agree that protecting assets and protecting, what's important to people is kind of really what I do as well. We like to say in the business, life happens. It's pretty cliche in the life business. I like to say, it's life changes. Again, people get married, people buy new homes, having children, divorce, death. It's part of the life changes that we don't always plan for.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a real, you have to have insurance when you drive a car.
Yeah.
You have to, if you have a mortgage, you need home insurance.
Right.
But so often, when we talk to families and we talk to people and they come to us, just get me to closing, just get me to closing. And we'll, we want you to take our autos as well. And then we talk about life because we see they're in a, probably a very beautiful new home with a very big mortgage. We ask them if, children, who depends on you. And we kind of do an analysis of, really specific to them. Debt, income, mortgage, education. We call it our dime. And we kind of gather information and, depending on their age, depending on their assets, depending on their income, we want to present, something for them in the unfortunate event that one of their income, something happens to their spouse, their partner. The first thing we think, you grieve when something unexpected happens.
Mhm.
And we all know that life throws you curveballs. You don't have to be 90 or 80 to have this happen. And, if both families are spouses or partners are working, you depend on each other for that income.
True.
So I think it's important that they, it's always something on the back burner. It's always like, yeah, we're, and we have customers that I've had for years that, finally come around and say, you know what, we think we need some life insurance.
Yeah.
And that number varies. We try to obviously make the way of living not increase, but what it's going to suit them.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's, it's kind of how we come into it with, planning, for their needs and stuff.
Yeah. As I remember this phrase, when we were seriously considering protecting ourselves through life insurance, the phrase that I remember hearing was, "It is for the ones that you love and the ones that you may have to leave behind." And it's so true because, let's call it like it is, within the past 4 to 5 years, at least for myself, I've seen more within my sphere where unexpected things happen in their lives, and you certainly don't want to create a lack thereof with the ones that you leave behind. And with what Colleen mentioned earlier, for those business owners that have business partners, I've seen more and more where, as part of their partnership, owning and running a business, it becomes kind of paramount and adamant that one key man or woman in the business must take out a life insurance policy. It's to do two things. It's to protect the income stream and the loved ones who may have to step up as part of ownership. Am I correct, Colleen?
You're absolutely correct. I think it's a great tool for succession planning.
Yeah.
I think it's important, just as you're talking about a prenup or a postnup, when you come into a business interest, life insurance is critical because you want to be sure that not only your family, but the partners that you partner with professionally are protected in the unfortunate event of a passing.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I know, Marianne, because your business and my business, we share this in common. One thing I know is that when it comes to an insurance solution, protecting what you own, what you're accumulating, there are risks that our suppliers and carriers of these solutions look at, right? So on my side of the business, I know one very obvious risk that is being measured up front is, credit, which basically is another word for what I call trust. Can you be trusted to live up to your obligation to the debt that you're going to agree to? And I know, Marianne, on your side with life insurance, one of the risks that you guys certainly assess is health. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's family, family history, longevity of lifespan for their parents.
right.
And, we work very closely, the terminology, for the whether it's a condition or medication. I almost feel like I need to go back to nursing or to medical school because it's like, wait, what is this? And now I can tell you what we're coming up against is a lot of the weight loss drugs.
Yeah,
What are they used for? Are
right.
you using it for weight loss? Are you using it for depression? Are you using it for what is the purpose of this? And the underwriters are getting very specific when we request records and from the medical facilities, they're attending physician statements. They want explanations. We need to see it. It says yes. So you go to the ER. It's documented.
Yeah, yeah,
And little things. I just had a case where it was possible, like a CPOD, but it was like, no. They went with pneumonia. And so all these things have to be very, very, the explanation has to be thorough.
yeah. So, Marianne, as we finish today's episode of New You, New Job, and New Home, for the social media friends, current friends, and maybe new ones that don't know you, tell us a little bit about what you do with your company and who are they?
Okay, I am a licensed agent. We're in probably about 7 states. I do health, P&C, property casualty, life, health, business insurance. I have been with Southwest. I came from a captive, which we call like a captive insurance company for years. And I'm in a opportunity now to have different options and broker out. So if you don't fit A company, maybe B company will fit your needs. So I just feel like it's just been very busy. We've got a location here in downtown Plainfield, and also we have a satellite office in Naperville.
Wonderful.
So there's 5 full-time agents. We've got someone that specializes in commercial accounts, but mostly we all just kind of, work together on different, policies and we have an open door policy, which, people just don't. And nowadays they, a lot of people like to come in and pay their bill.
Yeah.
We sit across the kitchen table. So, life, especially with life, we really have to have that personal touch in person.
Yeah, it's so true.
So it's a father and son. They are just phenomenal, and the support, and we do right by our customers. And if you come to me and you want a quote, and I'm working with something, and same thing with the life insurance, if you've got something in place, I'll tell you, this is good. Let's keep this.
Yeah.
It's not about replacing because of, gaining that kind of business. If you've got something that's working and you've paid into it, let's keep it. Very transparent. We really don't want to cookie cut, or we're very good about that. So
yeah, and that's why, audience members, that's why I love when I can reach out to Colleen and Mary Ann to ask for their time to share with you their subject matter expertise on these 2 critical topics, because as they both have said, life happens. You have to prepare for it. Don't leave things to chance. And as you heard me say, the things we do sometimes, more times than not, should be for not just ourselves, but for the ones that we love. So as we wrap up today's episode of New You, New Job, and New Home, if you are absolutely celebrating your happy Valentine's Day on the beach, Florida, Cancun, Aruba, all 3 of us are jealous of you. We're going to give you that little side-eyed look because we're not there with you. That's okay. And as we wrap up, for those of you who are interested to connect with Colleen and or Mary Ann, if you need a warm introduction to them, simply scan this QR code. I will gladly set you up so that you can start your private conversations with both of these friends of mine, because they are absolutely experts in what they do. Let me ask my music posse to play us out. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Enjoy your Friday.